WhiskyJason here. Whiskey aus der... Whoops. Wrong language. WhiskyJason here. Whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. Today I have the North Star Linkwood Cask Series 002 Whiskey Base 98231. So this is 60.2% cask strength. July 2016 distilled, May 2017 bottled. So it's 10 years, just shy of 11 years. And I bought this bottle for 69 euros is the going price here in Germany. I actually got this from an auction from the UK. I love the labeling. All right, so I must admit the label just really does it for me. I just love the Cask Series 002. Now, Ian Croucher, he used to be a reporter, publisher, and so on, turned whiskey independent bottler. And his wife Zoe said, hey, if you're going to do this, you're going to do it right. They went to Pocket Rocket, and they actually let them design the labels, which I think have been absolutely fantastic. And so there's a lot of tiny little things here that you can see. Of course, unchilled filtered, natural colored, Bourbon Hogshead. Even the dates are on here. Very, very nice. Palette, we have a... Oh, I'm not going to read that. No tasting notes yet. So, as I said, Ian Croucher was a publisher turned independent bottler. He actually had the chance to get some really, really great casks. A little bit above his pocket money, let's just say that. So he started his own company, took out the first release here, the Cask Series #1. At the moment, they're up to 6. I think #7 is actually going to be prepared really quick. His goal was to do 6 to 9 casks per quarter. So 6 times 4 would be 24 different bottlings a year. If they actually did 9, it'd be 36. So somewhere between 24 and 36 different bottlings a year, each and every time a single cask. So there were only 290 bottles of this. And he actually has the wonderful privilege of being under bond. Now, we Americans know the term bottled in bond, which means a government warehouse, and that's exactly what he has. He has the ability to buy casks under bond, which means he has to pay taxes, first of all, only when he takes it out and actually sells the barrels or the bottles. So he has a WOWGR, which is a warehouse keepers and owners of warehouse goods regulation certificate. Didn't know that. So you always live and learn here. All right, so North Star also has a blended malt, which is called Vega, V-E-G-A. I've seen one at least of those. And one day they might actually have a blended Scotch, which would be a Spica, S-P-I-C-A. So this was, as I said, in a Bourbon's Hogshead for almost 11 years, 10 years in total. I paid 70 euros, 69 euros basically for it over here. I really thought, what would I like to compare it with? And I looked in the back of my shelving unit, and I found something. First of all, if you see this type of a nice little tin or can from Signatory Vintage, and it says Cask Strength Collection, you're probably always going to go, oh, yeah. Now, this is a Strathmill, 1996, 21-year-old. It's a Speyside single malt Scotch whiskey at 59.6%. It was distilled in 31st of July, my wife's birthday, 1996. She's a little bit older than that. And it was bottled then on the 9th of November 2017. This is cask number 2094. I just looked online. There is actually, at least in Germany, from the sister cask, 2095 or 96, there's actually a bottle here of the Strathmill for about 100 euros at the moment. This was actually my control whiskey today. This stuff is amazing. It's really so good. I did this in my German video as well. Look at the cork. I mean, you could... It's just amazing, and the bottling and the product is just fantastic. You really notice the very, very first thing, and I'm gonna maybe talk a little bit more about this than I should because it's such an amazing whiskey. This is very, very nice. This is absolutely fabulous. Just the nose. It's like, oh, It's old. It's good. And it's usually used for blends. Very, very seldom do you actually have here a bottling of this anywhere. And so that's a rarity. Going back now to North Star Linkwood. On the nose, I get rice pudding. It says here, nose, dried fruit and slightly nutty. Now, I'm not 100% sure about the slightly nutty part, especially after watching his bourbon night so often and having Chad talk about bourbon being nutty. I'm not sure if a if a Linkwood could ever be nutty. But I get a creme brulee, I get a vanilla cream, and as I said, I get this rice pudding. Very, very nice. I love the nose on this. I do not get the 60.2%, but I do get a Linkwood. At the very beginning of my 2 years ago, a year into my bourbon or my whiskey journey, I had the opportunity to buy a Linkwood limited edition, 37-year-old special edition, whatever, for a price, let's say about 20% off the normal price it was going for. And so I jumped at it, and I did a bottle share, and I actually went to a guy, he's a YouTuber back then. He was much, much bigger than I was, now catching up, let's say that. And we did it, and of course, if you buy a bottle with this 400 euros more expensive than this, and you expect your expectations are here. 37 years old, it's $500 plus. This is going to be one of the best whiskeys ever. And you tried it, was like, good. B. But you were expecting like an A plus, knock your socks off type of whiskey, and it just wasn't. Because Linkwood is a very floral, a very light, a very delicate whiskey. Even at 37 years old, it still remained a delicate whiskey. So what I have here, of course, is a 10-year-old whiskey, almost 11-year-old whiskey at cask strength. So, get a little bit of saliva in the moon. That was German, a little bit of the mouth. If you notice, I did a trick. I took a little sip of water, and I basically placed, I would say, about half of what I took in over here in my cheeks. I swallowed a tiny little bit just to wetten or moisturize the entire process. What I took in the whiskey, I took a nip, I combined it very quickly with that water, that liquid in my mouth, and therefore I created the same amount if I would put a little bit into the whiskey. So I watered it down in my mouth to about 50%, which I know from experience. I did the German video first of all, that I was not a great fan of this hitting me in the cheeks and in the mouth and the taste buds with 60.2%. It was a little bit too much. This 59.6, 21-year-old, no problem. Take it every day of the year pure. Watering this down is almost a pity. This is so good. This over here, on the other hand, I like Linkwood. I really, really like Linkwood. If you ever have a Johnny Walker, for example, anything, especially the green label, you know that this is one of the main products in there. Then they put Taliska and a few other things in there and ruin it. My personal opinion, I'm sorry. I love this nose. I really do. Very, very nice. It's very, very typical of an ex-Hogshead. Bourbon Hogshead. You do get that vanilla. I'm going to stick with my rice pudding. It says here on the bottle, the palate is a lemon, sherry, sherbet, and creme brulee. All right, I can actually talk about that. And the finish is a long-lasting dry citrus, and of course the wonderful thing over here in Germany, marzipan. We have a lot of marzipan, especially where I live. Basically the German epicenter for marzipan is Lübeck. They are famous all over Europe for making beautiful, fantastic marzipan. And so we actually have a store where you can buy the bee products, the little bit of a little not perfect, And we go there and we just like buy a whole kilo and have the whole family and eat it on the way on the car home ride and get so sick from eating too much marzipan. So that's a flavor I've had a lot in my life. Lemon sherbet is not wrong. A lemon sherbet with that rice pudding, with that creme brulee, with a tiny little bit of a marzipan underneath. I'm going to go for it. Very, very nice. B minus. Good, very nice whiskey. Value for money, 69 euros, which is about $80 for a 10, almost 11-year-old cask strength, non-chilled filtered, 60.2%. Single cask, one of 290 bottles. I don't think this is very, very highly priced. I would have not been surprised if it was another 20 euros on top of what it really was. But maybe at the beginning he kept the price a bit lower. Cask Series number 2. There's been 3, 4, 5, and now 6. Maybe they've gone up a little bit. So I'm actually going to give this a solid C for value for money. I don't think any of these made it to the States. I'm sorry. I know they did make it to the continental Europe as well as the UK. So if you still find a bottle out there, why not? If you're a big Linkwood fan, the only thing comparable to this would be the Flora and Fauna series here from Diageo. Linkwood belongs to Diageo, and therefore that's something that we can think about. Just a tiny little bit of a... I'm going to make you a little jealous here with the Strathmill 21-year-old? Yes, it was. Deep, dark, rich, orange, lightly oranged milk chocolate with almonds. Almost too much of a big swig for cask strength, 59.6%. But, oh yeah. Long lasting, very, very nice. If you ever get your hands on anything here from Signatory Vintage Cask Strength Collection, go for it. Should run you around the 150 to 250 euros per bottle. But so far, in my opinion, there hasn't been a bad one yet. Nice. All right, WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany. My question of the day is North Star, the new independent bottler from Scotland, good or bad? And secondly, how many other new independent bottlers since 2015 do you know that have entered the market? So, please subscribe, please tell others about this crazy American in Germany tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. All the best. See you. Bye-bye.